If God could stop an entire nation, what makes you think they could stop you from telling others about him? And it says in the book of Genesis, chapter 11, verses 5 through 8, it says, But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, If I was one people speaking this, as if one people speaking the same language, they had begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so they will not understand each other. So the Lord scattered them from there all over the earth, and they stopped building the city that was just called Babel, because the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. You see what God did there? God divided an entire nation. And so you wonder, what does this have to do with the video? So yesterday I was talking with a friend, to check up on him, seeing how his life going, all that stuff. And he's going, and as you can see, he's going back to school in August, and he's planning on sharing the gospel with other people, right? And then this morning I was reading the book of Genesis to study it, to study like Noah, the covenant, the flood, and also the Nephilim, and which I was planning on doing later that day. And I came upon this passage, right? And God spoke to me through this verse, and God put this thought in my mind. If I if I could stop an entire nation, what makes you think they could stop you for telling others about me? So what God is showing us through this verse is that what makes you think that if I can stop a whole nation, what makes you think that they can stop others from telling others about me? What makes you think they can stop you for telling others about my son? What makes you think they can stop you from living the life that God has called you to live? If God can stop a whole nation, then then you shouldn't have then we as believers should have no problem sharing the gospel with other people. And I'm not and and I'm not saying that we don't have a flesh to wrestle with. Do we have a fleshly nature we still need to wrestle with? Yes, of course. But but we should meditate on this passage, serving as a reminder that we should not fear the name, because it says in Joshua chapter 1 verse 9 that have I not commanded you that fear not, nor be dismayed, for I the Lord thy God is with you wherever thou goes. Thus, the same spirit of the living God who divided this nation, who worked through Moses, worked through Abraham, worked through Jacob, Isaac, and the biblical patriarchs in the Old Testament, working through the New Testament, and it's now working through us. That same spirit of the living God defeated the whole nation, and is within us. And and of course, that shows us that we have nothing to fear, because if God be for us, who could be against us? And and it shows us, and it echoes Second Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power and a sound mind and of discipline. So let this video inspire you to share the gospel with somebody right now. I don't care if you do it in a crowd. I don't care if you do it on social media. I don't care if you do more than one person. Share the gospel with somebody. And if they cut you off for that, hey, cool. At least you tell them the truth. Because if you really love them, you'll be willing to tell them the truth. Tell them the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and so that they want to perish but have eternal life in heaven. Anyway, I hope y'all got something out of this video. Hit that like button. Follow for more. Leave any comments if you have any questions or concerns. Until then, don't be religious. Follow Christ.